नमस्कार दोस्तों, एक बार फिर जुड़ने के लिए मेरे साथ इस वीडियो एनालिसिस में। और आज हम देख रहे हैं कि मार्केट एक ऊपरी स्तर को क्रॉस नहीं कर पा रहा है, तो आगे क्या देखना है और आगे कैसे काम करना है हम डिस्कस करेंगे इस वीडियो में। और अगर आप हमारे वीडियो पर चैनल पर पहली बार आ रहे हैं, हमारे यूट्यूब चैनल पर पहली बार आ रहे हैं, तो जरूर सब्सक्राइब कीजिएगा और बेल बटन को जरूर दबाइए ताकि आपको पता चले कि कैसे ऐसे इंटरेस्टिंग वीडियोस आ सकते हैं आपके पास आपके पर्टिकुलर चैनल में। ऑलराइट, तो पहले हम देखेंगे कि निफ्टी और बैंक निफ्टी का हाल क्या है, और फिर मैं डिस्कस करने वाला हूं बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग एनालिसिस ऑन द सेक्टर विच हैज डन वेरी वेल टुडे, राइट, दैट इज द फार्मा सेक्टर। तो उसके लिए बने रहिए, उसके लिए एक अलग सा वीडियो है और उस वीडियो का लिंक इस वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन में जुड़ा हुआ है, तो उसे भी जरूर जाकर देखिए। तो पहले चलकर देखते हैं कि ओवरऑल सेक्टर परफॉर्मेंस कैसी थी। आईटी में काफी बिकवाली दबाव देखी, लेकिन आईटी जिस प्रकार से गिर रहा था वहां से एक उछाल आना ही था। सो यू कुड सी हियर दैट द आईटी परफॉर्म क्वाइट वेल। Along with the IT, we also spoke about the pharma play, right? And you can see here that IT, pharma, this is the pharma sector which had a good contribution to hold on the indices. There was this IT sector, and then you had some movement in the financial services. So ये तीन sector जो है काफी किरदार निभाया है टू होल्ड द निफ्टी एट द हायर लेवल्स, बट देन इट वाज क्वाइट अ बिट ऑफ अ चैलेंज। सो लेट्स गो एंड सी हाउ द चैलेंज कैन बी हैंडल्ड। और पहले हम चलेंगे इनटू निफ्टी चार्ट्स एंड देन वी विल सी एंड देन विल गो ऑन टू द लेवल्स। तो पहले आप देखो, आप निफ्टी चार्ट को देख रहे हैं तो आपको दिख रहा है कि ये जो स्टेडी हायर हाई फॉर्मेशन थी, अब एक लोअर हाई फॉर्मेशन बन रहा है। सो एज यू कैन सी हियर देयर इज अ स्टेडी लोअर हाई फॉर्मेशन which is an indication of some pressure to the downside. Now, if you go and take a look at the kind of the RSI which is being shown at the lower levels, you can see here that the RSI right now, okay, you can see here that the RSI is well below the median mark, like it is below 50 levels, so which is an indication that there is continued pressure to the downside. But one thing we should note, okay, one thing we should note is that lower levels around 17,600 is continuing to act as a important support. So अगर आपको ध्यान होगा तो मैंने कहा था कि 17,600 के नीचे एक क्लोजिंग जरूरी है, और दोबारा आप देखें कि 17,600 की तरफ जाकर एक उछाल आ गया है, which is a clear sign that 17,600 is a very very important level to watch out for. Now with 17,600 holding up, and you can see here that the RSI is slightly trying to revive from lower levels. So all of that indicates that a possibility to the upside is very much possible, and that's what the charts are indicating. So let's go and take a look at levels and find out. And when you go and take a look at the levels, you can see here that the indices are on neutral stage on the intraday as well as the multi-day. तो अगर हम जाकर देखेंगे कि क्या levels आ रहे हैं हमारे पास, क्योंकि scores are also not indicating any clarity. So let's go directly to our level section and find out how can we action them. So now what do we have here for action? So as you recall, I had mentioned 17,850 to the upside and 550 to the downside is going to be practically the range for the expiry, and that's what is happening right now as we are participating in the market. Now 17,850, as you can see here, again the cluster zone is emerging around those zones. So if you can pay some attention here, you can see that 17,861 here, 17,848 here. So again we have a very good cluster zone. So yes, because of the limited movement of the market, the cluster zones are at a nearby level. Now as you travel higher, right, you are having 18,060 as the higher levels of target. But before that, what you are having here is 18,000, and 18,000 is your target number 1 and 18,060 is target number 2 if there is a movement to the upside, because this is a very very strong cluster zone. Okay, this is a very very strong cluster zone. तो ये हो गया आपका ट्रिगर जोन और ये हो गया आपका टारगेट 18,000 and 18,060 which you can target if the market were to move up. All right, now just imagine that the market is not willing to go up and it's trying to go down. What can happen? Let's evaluate that scenario as well. So when I'm looking at that kind of scenario which can happen, so what I'm finding is that the S1 is our lower trigger point, which is close to this is going to be your वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्लस्टर ऑन द डाउन साइड। तो ये हो गया आपका डिमांड जोन और ये हो गया आपका सप्लाई जोन 1, सप्लाई जोन 2। So these are the levels which I'll be tracking as part of my activity for tomorrow. And yes, before the expiry, market looks a little confused, but then there is something brewing up, and that something is happening in Bank Nifty. So let's go and take a look at Bank Nifty. Alright, पहले हम चार्ट पे चलेंगे इस बार और देखिए किस प्रकार का मूवमेंट जो आया है बैंक निफ्टी में। इट हैज बीन क्वाइट प्रोलिफिक, बट देन after hitting higher levels, what are you seeing here? You are seeing that despite forming that high, right? Despite forming this high, you can see that that high is not been able to exceed. So essentially what is happening is that the entire market is within the yesterday's range. पूरी yesterday's range के भीतर ही है market, and you can see that even on the RSI you are having some sort of a divergence. You can see here prices are trying to go up, but the RSI is trying to come down. However, in the case of Bank Nifty, it is holding itself above 50 levels, which is again a good sign. But then what it has to do is cross 42,500. Okay, it has to cross 42,500. Bank Nifty is definitely bullish, but then if it were to give away, okay, if it were to give away, then you could see that this has been a very nice sloping trend, and the fall could be quite severe. Now, where could the fall go right up to? So let's take a look at that. If Bank Nifty were to give away, and if you were to experience a decline, the fall could go all the way right up to here. From here, it can go all the way from here down up till here. Why this level? Because this is where it formed a base, right? It formed a base here. So the drop is almost 1,000 points. So what we have to see is, if there is a bearish pressure emerging, then Bank Nifty is the most suitable candidate to go short. So that is what is something which you should be anticipating, because the kind of rise which you have seen is quite phenomenal. So yes, a pullback is definitely on the card. So be very careful. The next 2 days are going to be tricky, but then that's how you got to participate. So now just imagine that if Bank Nifty were to give a decline. So let's go and take a look at the Bank Nifty. Okay, let's go and take a look at the Bank Nifty. So as you can see on the Bank Nifty, you can see that while the intraday is neutral, क्योंकि आपने देखा कि intraday के last 2 days were pretty much range bound, you can see that the multi-day is entering a buy zone, which means that the overall scores are definitely improving in Bank Nifty. और उसकी वजह से अगर आपको काम करना हो, तो मैंने कल भी कहा था कि बैंक निफ्टी में एक मल्टी डे पॉसिबिलिटी बन रहा है। तो अगर हम जाकर देखेंगे कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ लेवल्स कैन वी लुक एट, सो यू विल सी हियर वंस अगेन at levels of 42,600 there is a challenge, right? So now how do we address this challenge? We'll address this challenge through a cluster zone. So now when I'm going to talk about the cluster zone, okay, so let's first find out what are those cluster levels. So you can see here, this is your cluster zone, 42,530 to 42,600. So this is going to be your important cluster zone. So you can say this is your trigger zone, because beyond this trigger zone, it opens up door all the way to 42,900 to 43,150, right? So this will be your target 1 and this will be your target 2. So these are your supply zones on the upside. Now let's see how we can address the downside. And what did we say? We say if a fall happens from around the current levels, you could expect a 1,000-point drop. So where will the 1,000-point drop lead to? Let's go and check out the lower levels. First point of trigger is 42,150. So 42,150 here, right? You can see here that this is a good cluster zone with 42,250. So here you are having a nice demand zone here. You can see here, this is a nice demand zone for us to track. So this would be a good demand zone for you to track. This is a good supply zone for you to track. So this way you have got the levels ready with you. So now imagine that these particular levels don't begin to act and the price starts descending down. So if it breaks 42,150, then you can expect a fall all the way towards 41,670. Why am I saying that? Now if you go here, okay, if you go here and then you try and take a look at this last block which I have made here. So this is in very close tie-up with your multi-day pivot, right? It's very close tie-up with the multi-day pivot. So this could be a good point for you to go short and cover. So this would be your point of cover. So you go short below this for a target of this, right? So with that, you get an idea of how to address Bank Nifty. Now, with this, I come to the end of this particular video where I shared with you what is the overall prospects of Nifty as well as Bank Nifty, what are the levels we are looking at, and how we should be playing ahead of the expiry. If you like what you heard and if you like what I shared, do comment on this video and also ensure that you are able to participate along with these levels. Thank you so much for watching. This is Radha Venkatraman signing off. Do give a like to this video and also share it in your social circle so that everyone knows how Nifty and Bank Nifty are placed and how to analyze it in a structured way. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.